Do a second take of this video and I apologize if I just scratch myself. I saw a bad ad when I used to have to stick two movie together. That's why I heard to do the video before. Kind of do the video, stick, and I did the contrary, stick and do the video. It's so disgusting ad. This is where the comments gonna hit because it affects you when you don't, when you fast, which much more of this stuff. And so I was going north in Toronto, maybe on Yonge Street, and that place is Chinese kind of place, is Asian, young and still, and going south, I met a guy that named Mike. And by the way, this Mike has a convenience store on the west north of the city, which is on Western Road and Shepherd, a place that used to be a lot. This place called Gift Store. And recently, since September, October, he has helped me by giving me, $10 of credit. Still on him today. So, and the point is that I'm just not there. The point is that when I met him, I say, hey, we used to talk sport, and he has a video when he works in sport. And I did prophetic sport when I wanted to build a life recently, and I lived with no money. And then my mom went sick. In this video on vlog for a year, I traveled from Vancouver, and then my mom was sick in Niagara Falls in ICU, and now she's fine. But I mean, fine, it's a big word, but she's no more sick of that ailment. I, um, and then from this, I started to have some live back a little bit and live in sin. And then, as you can see, I was not hiding it, and now I repented. I had many messages, and even then, the messages are all seem to point to those comments, to that moment, but also those comments. So now just start to realize this lately with the Comet Atlas when people were saying, you know, the green mist. And anyways, so this dream was God telling me where it's gonna hit. So go back. I talked to him and I asked him, hey, do you know a place? Uh, Gambling and stuff like that. I said I want to play cards. This is my old times, you know. Let's say I follow God and I get more, I would do that. So God has given me this dream, so I don't do it. So I tell him face to face, we're very close, you know. And when I ask him, he says, "Huh?" And I said, "Do you know a place to do it lower because." At that point, I do so nobody can hear, and I do like this, you know, when you pass the card to not say the word, poker, and this is like the balls, Comet's gonna poke, you know, where, and he's telling me this and this. He says my friend knows a place, and I'm thinking the guy who does the game, who holds the game, almost God. And Mike, you can think about Saint Michael. So he says this place, but he says he gives me two places, but one he says they're anti Chino there. So maybe in that place it's gonna shower. But at that time I thought, oh, the game might not happen there because they're anti Chino, or you gotta hide more. So here we go. Already the second dream. I understand more now. So after this, first I said it might not happen. Now I'm thinking it might happen. And I'm gonna wake up. I still did not wake up and wash myself. So, anyways, when he tells me that, suddenly I look on the left and I see a cop car. Um, my body's lying on the cop car and they on the street and I'm on the sidewalk. Very strangely, I'm touching it. And I looked, and there's two guys watching front, almost like they don't see me. So I'm like to him, I'm making a sign. Let's turn right and walk down. I'm making a sign. turning, and when I turn, I'm like, okay, it's gonna attract a bit of attention. So I realize now I'm walking with a baseball hat, and I do like this a little bit. I wanted to do it more, so I do it 2 times, and I think he does this a bit, and I did it. It's almost like if I do it like this instead of like this, the salute. So then I'm walking down, and I'm telling him I'm having my phone, and now I'm speaking to somebody, almost if it was somebody to go in a game, a third party. I didn't phone. I'm already on my phone, and so it's them. It's if you were calling somebody to play the game, I guess. But at this point, there was no thinking. It was just I'm talking with somebody, and Mike is right, walking on my right. You know, me, I was going north, but then I'm like south, and he just continues south. And he's telling me to Mike, hey, you want to talk to him? And he says, no. So Mikey says no, and I'm still giving the phone, or who said no? I can't remember. I think it's Mike. No, I think it's the guy on the phone. So it will be like the tip god, or anyways, they're all the same, right? And the point is that I guess it's Mike, and the other team is you on the third party. But when he said no, because it will be, I didn't want to give my phone because I thought it's gonna be dirty. But anyways, now it's a reverse. So I still give the phone to do a favor to Mike, which is the just like the guy who owns the convenience store, which is the Christians. I didn't want, because handing him my phone will become dirty because it's sinning, not clean hands. But I do it because I'm thinking he helped me out to call my family, and this he gave me a credit of $10 and for food, uh, and then which I still own. So I give him the phone for whatever reason because I left, and I give him the phone. Okay, despite the guy on the phone saying no, and Mike is like, first thing he says, don't call me first thing or second thing. There was just two things. And he says, don't call me when I arrive home. Don't call me. I will be sleeping. Meaning he just finished his shift. He was tired, and is telling to not call him because he'll be sleeping. And this is the comedy I found in it. It's like people did not pray and ask God, and now he's telling him, don't call me. I'll be sleeping. And you see, and Saint Michael, by the way, what is he? Is the guardian patroness of police officers, which always, which I respect. And then the other thing, Mike, he says, I told him it's not idol, because potato, you can think the capital of potato, idol, it's gonna shower, like potatoes. And he says, I told him it's not idol, it's South Carolina. And he's telling me, and the place that we're telling me in this dream is where it's gonna shower, and how much I'm sure it's South Carolina. And remember, at the beginning, he said two places. So look, South Carolina, first of all, if since it's the two more things vivid I remember in the dream. Um, so if they anti-Chino, and then that's a confirmation. I can't remember the first two places.